Well, hi, how you doing? Today I'm going to be making a stuffed jalapeno popper. It's a little something I kind of came up with a while ago when I was wanted to make some jalapeno poppers and for a football game, and my fryer broke, and I was like, oh my gosh, what do I do? So I decided to take a fresh jalapeno and stuff it myself, and instead of using like a breadcrumb crust or something, kind of elevating it a little bit, making it a little more gourmet, if you will, and using puff pastry. So it's great for games, great for watching football on a Sunday and just having a jalapeno popper and a beer, and it's good times. So first thing we need to do is we need to prepare the filling. So I have here some white American cheese, some cilantro, and a little tomato that we're just going to go ahead and dice on up real quick. You always want to make sure that you're using a very sharp knife when you're cutting, because if you don't use a sharp knife, the knife's going to slide around, you're very likely to cut yourself, and that would be pretty bad. And you don't want to cut yourself, especially when you're making jalapeno peppers, because the jalapenos are going to get into the cut, it's going to be really, really nasty. So just a real simple dice, nothing too crazy. It's going into a pepper after all, so it doesn't have to be exactly perfect. So we're going to take, I would call that about 2 tablespoons of diced tomatoes. Put that in our bowl. And about 2 tablespoons of chopped cilantro as well. And then about a 1/4 cup of diced our white American cheese. Now I like using American cheese just because it really melts just beautifully, and heating it up, it's smooth, it's consistent, and just really kind of a nice luscious flavor. So about 1/2 cup in there. Then what we're going to do is we're going to pop it in the microwave for about 30 seconds just to get it all good and melted. Ooh. Okay, so we have our cheese all nice and melted right there with the cilantro and the tomatoes in there. And now we're going to let that sit so it starts to congeal a little bit and come back together. And while we're letting that sit, we're going to start to work on our jalapenos. So I have these great jalapenos here. Now I know oftentimes they may come a little bit moist, a little bit shiny. Always make sure you wash your produce before you use it, because you never know how many hands have touched it or whatnot in the supermarket. So the first thing that we're going to do after we wash it is we're going to roast them. Now you can roast them a lot of different ways. If you have a gas stove, just put it on the gas stove until it gets nice and blistered. You can do it in the oven, or hey, if you don't have any of those options, sometimes you can always just take a little butane torch and torch them. Just really kind of slowly torch them, just to get it a little bit blistered. Oh, there's a blister right there. Keep going all the way around. And the idea is just to get the skin off, but not cook the entire pepper. It's a much faster process than doing it in the stove or the oven. It's always nice to have these kitchen torches around. They come in handy, whether you're doing this or making a creme brulee or doing all kinds of fun stuff. So now that we have the pepper all nice and blistered, we're going to pop it into a Ziploc bag and let it sit for a couple minutes. Now what that's going to do is it's going to allow the pepper to steam, and it's going to make the skin come off real nice and easy. So close that up, put that aside. Lucky for us, I have one pepper that's already been steamed and sitting for a few minutes. So as you can see, the skin is nicely charred. It's starting to wrinkle a little bit, but as you can see, the skin comes off pretty easy. Now one way, let me clean up this cutting board a little bit. One way that I actually like to get the skin off, just take a paper towel, have your pepper on the, and just kind of rub the paper towel along the skin. And if you allow it to steam, it comes off really, really simple. See how that is? Nice and easy, nothing too crazy. Sometimes it sticks a little bit, so we use our fingers, but that's okay. Okay, so we have our peeled pepper, nice jalapeno pepper, and it has a little bit of a smoky flavor that is developed from the grilling of it as well. Now, we are going to put a little slit in the pepper. Just go all the way down. You don't want to cut completely through the pepper because when you stuff it and then try to roll it up in the puff pastry, it's going to get a little screwy. So what we're going to do is just going to have a little slit in there. So, I don't know about you. I like spicy food, don't get me wrong, but if I don't take out the seeds and the veins of this pepper, I'm gonna go crazy. It'll just be way too spicy. So, what we're gonna do, we have this nice pepper here. See, you got the seeds and the veins right here. We're just gonna pull that out. Real simple, nothing too crazy. Just kind of use your fingers. Try to keep the pepper as whole as possible, but if it rips, it's not the end of the world, but it makes life easier if it's all nice and whole. So get all the seeds out and everything. Now some people like to rinse it as well, which I will do right here. Just a little water, just run it through. Help get any of those additional seeds out. Okay, so we have our pepper here. Seeds and the veins are out. And see, we kept it mostly whole, so it's perfect for stuffing. It's like, look at it saying, hey, stuff me, put the cheese in me. Okay, so we have our cheese that's sat for a little bit. It's had a chance to congeal. A little congealed, maybe a little too much, but that's okay. So then we're just gonna plop it right in there. Maybe a little more. Okay, now keep in mind, it doesn't have to fit exactly in there, and the reason why is the cheese is going to melt. It's going to move around and kind of go in all of the little nooks and crannies of the jalapeno, so it doesn't have to fit exactly in there. Okay, so let's some of this stuff out of the way here. Okay, so we have our pepper here, and the next thing we are ready to do is ready to play with our puff pastry. Now, puff pastry is one of the most coolest things in the world to me. Really, all it is just flour and butter that has been folded over and over and over and over and over again. Now, I made puff pastry one time in culinary school, and I am never, ever gonna do it again. It is so much work, it is just incredible. That's why so many companies actually make puff pastry and really good product. It's really not too expensive. You can find it pretty much everywhere. So, have our puff pastry here. There's a little liner to keep them separated from one another. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to cut a little strip, about 2.5 inches for the length of this puff pastry. Just down. And then we're going to take our pepper, just put it right there. We're just going to roll it up, real simple. Let me roll it the other way so you can get a better view. Just kind of tuck everything in, kind of seal the one end. You can have the stem sticking out, but the other end you want to seal it so that the cheese stays on the inside. Just give it a little roll. Okay. Little piece of cilantro out there, not the end of the world. Give it a little look to it, I guess. Okay, so we have our stuffed jalapeno here. What we're going to do is just rub it with a little bit of egg wash. Egg wash, egg and just a tiny bit of milk. Some people use butter, some people use egg whites. I like the egg yolk with a little bit of milk because I think it gives a better color. Now if you want, at this point, you can dust it with sesame seeds, chili pepper flakes, anything you want on there. You can have it, it's kind of a blank canvas where you can put all kinds of different things on there just to make it look kind of cool. But I'm just going to leave it like that. You want to put it on a sheet pan that's been sprayed with a pan release, like Pam or something along those lines. Just kind of pop it in there, and it's going to go into a 400-degree oven for 15 to 20 minutes, just depending on some ovens. I don't know, it says 400 degrees, but sometimes some are hotter than others. You want to put it in at 400 degrees because with puff pastry, as the heat comes in, it creates steam, and thus it gets its name. It puffs. It will actually get puffier and bigger, and if you cook it at a lower temperature, it won't puff as much. So 400 degrees, about probably 10 to 15 minutes. So we'll pop it in the oven. couple here. We're just done. Now if you want to just put them on a plate, little decoration, nothing too crazy. I don't like to super cook them because I like the puff pastry to be a little bit soft. Now keep in mind, once you pull them out of the oven, let them sit for 5 to 10 minutes. The reason why is cheese, molted cheese, is very, very hot and painful to get on you. So these have cooked, they're completely cooked through the center. The cheese is liquid, okay? If you bite into it right away, you're gonna get molten cheese all over your face and you're gonna have a very bad day. So let those sit for 5 to 10 minutes and then they're good to go. So you just, now if you wanna serve them with a sauce, serve them with, I don't know, maybe a guacamole or sour cream or something, you can do that. Me, I just prefer mine just plain. Great for the Super Bowl, my favorite. So thank you very much.